Former Supreme Court Justice David Souter, a Republican appointee who retired from the High Court in 2009 after voting consistently with its liberal wing, has died, the Supreme Court announced on Friday. He was 85 years old. Souter, a low-key New Englander who eschewed the national spotlight, was known by some as the stealth nominee when President George H.W. Bush nominated him in 1990 to replace the liberal lion William Brennan. Advisors assured the president that Souter would move the court to the right, a misreading that continues to reverberate today. The Supreme Court said Souter died peacefully on Thursday at his home in New Hampshire, but did not disclose the cause. Justice David Souter served our court with great distinction for nearly 20 years, Chief Justice John Roberts said in a statement. He brought uncommon wisdom and kindness to a lifetime of public service. Measured, scholarly and faithful to the idea of judicial restraint, those who knew Souter said his approach to the law shouldn't have surprised anyone who was paying close attention. The whole point of it was that it was a constitution and a Bill of Rights for the indefinite future, Souter said during a 2012 event. The application of these values, the problem of trying to make them work in practice, was an assignment that was left to the future. It did not take conservatives long to regret Souter's nomination. After less than 2 years on the bench, he helped orchestrate a significant opinion that upheld the central tenet of Roe v. Wade, that the right to abortion was implicitly guaranteed by the Constitution. It wasn't until 2022, 3 decades later, that the court ultimately overturned Roe. And he would go on to side with the court's liberal bloc in cases dealing with civil rights, affirmative action, and voting. His tenure inspired a rallying cry on the right, "No more Souters," and led to a more rigorous ideological vetting of candidates. Subsequent nominees from both parties, including today's justices, are less likely to break with the party that appointed them. Attorney General Pam Bondi described Souter in a social media post Friday as a brilliant man who devoted his life to public service and our courts. Contemplative, humble jurist. Souter wrote a widely cited First Amendment unanimous opinion in 1995 that permitted organizers of a St. Patrick's Day parade in Boston to deny a place for an LGBTQ group. A decade later, he wrote for a 5-4 majority finding that 3 counties in Kentucky had violated the First Amendment when they displayed framed copies of the Ten Commandments in courthouses and public schools. The divisiveness of religion in current public life is inescapable, Souter wrote. This is no time to deny the prudence of understanding the Establishment Clause to require the government to stay neutral on religious belief, which is reserved for the conscience of the individual. He was often understated in his opinions. In a 2009 concurrence in a case involving Navajo Nation mineral rights, Souter put down only 2 sentences. "I am not through regretting that my position in an early case did not carry the day," he wrote. But it did not, and I agree that the precedent of that case calls for the result reached here. In another break with today's norms, Souter stepped down after 19 years on the Supreme Court, seeking a return to his contemplative life in New Hampshire. Never married and never fond of the Washington social scene, Souter was only 69 when he stepped down, far younger than most departing justices.